I'm a big fan.
Appreciate it. So who the hell are you?
I'm Ant-Man.
Ant-Man?
What, you haven't heard of me?
Alright, guys, so just got done watching. Actually, let's see, I can pull the. I didn't watch the Blu ray this time. I watched it on Disney Plus, but just finished watching Ant-Man. Ant-Man came out in 2015. And this was a completely different direction for the MCU than they had ever gone before. This was a much, no pun intended, a smaller movie than the MCU had done before. It was going back to basics. It wasn't, it didn't deal with end of the world consequences or anything. It was a much more contained story. Yes, it did reference the larger MCU. It did have characters from the Avengers in it, but it for the most part kind of was its own self-contained story, and for the most part kind of fit within its own self-contained side of the MCU. Now, I really like the first Ant-Man. I think this movie is so much fun. It's got a really fun heist feel to it. I like the tone that Peyton Reed was able to kind of balance that tone of it being really funny, but also kind of having a little bit of a dramatic side to it, and finding that balance of the heart and the emotion, which is what I feel like is when you get into the second and third one is kind of missing in the next two, and I'll get into the next two when we eventually get into those films. But when you get to those two movies, I feel like that's what's missing from those first two is the kind of the heart that this movie had. This movie was actually a lot more heartwarming and really emotional. Like I found myself getting choked up quite a bit throughout this film. Especially like with Hank Pym's backstory, the backstory between Hank Pym and the estranged relationship between him and Hope, and the idea of, you know what, I'm gonna take my glasses off because the reflection of the I've been getting a lot of messages on my Instagram saying, Zeke, the reflection is hard to see. Anyway, but no, I like the idea of getting the that kind of that theme of this is a movie about a father's relationship with their children in a way, and whether that's Scott's relationship with his daughter, or Hank's relationship with his daughter, or even Hank's relationship with Darren, kind of like the mentor-mentee relationship, or even the mentor-mentee relationship between Scott and Hank that forms later on in the movie. And again, the humor, it works perfectly. Michael Pena, I think, steals the movie. One of my favorite jokes in this whole movie is, Baskin Robbins always finds out, bro. Like, that's so great. That is so great. And then, yeah, and also, you know, the ending, this one killed me. And it made me laugh back then, but it really killed me this time around. It's when they're in the car, it's near the end, they're in the car, they're driving towards the big fight, and they're like, we're gonna go help Scott, nothing's gonna stop us. And they stop and they see the cops, and they're like, just back it up, yep, just back it up, just back it up, yep, yeah, that's what we're doing, just back it up. I don't know why, but I thought I was going to be physically ill. I was laughing that hard at it. So, yeah, like the humor works very well. All in all, Ant-Man just works incredibly well. Yeah, also, I will say overall, I don't think Darren Cross works very well. I think Yellow Jacket is a very weak villain. I think he comes off as a very stereotypical, kind of, mwahaha mustache twirling villain. I don't, there's not really much there for him to be doing all these, evil things. There's not a lot of depth to him as a character, so I felt like by the time when he's doing all these evil things, I just don't buy it that he's just all of a sudden he's just evil. It's because it's like right out the gate he's just a bad dude. Like just right out the gate he's doing all these shady things that he's doing, and he's all these bad things, and I'm just like, yeah, it's just like. Yeah, so overall, I don't think Yellow Jacket worked as a villain. And we'll get to what they eventually do with him, much later on when we get to a certain little movie called Quantumania, but we'll get to that when we get there. But that's Ant-Man. We have made it to the end of Phase 2, ladies and gentlemen. And we will start Phase 3 with Captain America: Civil War.